Okay everyone, so here I am. I finally finished my two sleeves, and this is what they should look like. I've got one and I've got two. Okay, so at the end we've got this looking shape here, and at the beginning we've got our rib stitch. Okay, and the idea is that once we're finished, we are going to fold it in half, and that's going to be our sleeve, and then we will sew it into place onto the torso, but we'll do that later. So once you've finished your two sleeves, okay, we are going to work the neck. So let's do that. So here we are, we have our torso, okay? So we have the front with the design, and we've got the back that we made, okay? And if you did everything correct, they should, of course, match. All right? So what we're going to do to begin is we are going to start by having the right side face us, okay? And we're going to look at the left shoulder, okay? So we're looking down, it's our left. When you wear it, it'll be the right. So the shoulder right here, okay? We're going to begin by sewing this and this together. So we're going to sew the shoulders together. So remember, because this is now a seam, we want to do it on the inside, okay? Right, so when we flip it upside down, we'll sew it together. So when we flip it upside down, we're going to sew it together like this, just so that when we flip it right side up, it'll be like a normal seam, okay? And you can sew it any way you like. So here I am, here's my sweater. I kind of made a mistake, so I had to delete a part, and in that, I actually went ahead on the next step and completed that. So instead of undoing all of this, I'm just going to tell you what to do. All right, so you're going to take your two sweaters, okay, ignore this collar for now. We're going to take our two sweaters, the front, and we're going to have it face us, and the back as well. And you're going to put it together as if you're going to wear it, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the left shoulder. So when we look at it, it's our left. When we wear it, it's our right. So it's this one right here. We're going to match it together like this, okay? Then we're going to change our needles to a 4mm needle, okay? And we're going to pick up and we're going to knit our stitches all the way across, okay? So essentially we're just going to pick up our stitches. So the shoulders, we're going to leave them loose. We're not going to sew them together, okay? That's the mistake I told you before, which I kind of deleted. Leave it like this, right? So this allows us to work the neckline, which we're going to build using circular knitting needles or straight knitting needles. It really doesn't matter because it can unfold like this, right? So whatever you're using, continue using that. So I have my 4mm needles, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my stitches. So I have a cut where I'm going to show you how to pick up your stitches, right? In that cut, that's where I made the mistake of sewing the shoulder together, which I undid right here. So ignore that part in the cut, right? But I'm going to show you how to pick up the stitches. But essentially, just to give you an overview so you don't get confused, what I'm about to tell you is that we're going to break the neck into certain parts. We have this part here. We have the part that's on our stitch holder, which I didn't take off yet. We have the other shoulder part here, and we have the back, which is on our stitch holder, okay? So our two shoulders right here, we're going to pick up and knit 23 stitches, all right? So essentially just pick up 23 stitches, okay? And we're going to do that evenly. So the best way to do that is to look at the V's, okay? And pick up and go through each of the V's, which I'm going to show you in my cut, all right? Then we're going to pick up this, then we're going to do 23 here, and regardless of your size of your sweater, you're always going to do 23 on the shoulders here, and then you're going to pick up the back. So we're going to work here all the way around to the back. Once you're done, then we are here. It's going to look like this, okay? And we're going to work on the next row. So for the next row, this is what we're going to do. We're going to it's just like we're working in a straight line. We're going to take our work, take our other needle, and start knitting backwards again, reverse, right? Just how we've always done it in a straight line. We do it this way, then we do it this way, then we do it this way, and we do it this way. It's the same thing, okay? Because at the end, what we're going to do, we're going to have our neck, we're going to have our neck, we're going to have our shoulders loose, and we're just going to sew the seams together, okay? That's what we're going to do. Okay, so here I am, I finished sewing it in, right? So I have these extra strings here, I've got this extra one that's still attached to the yarn here, so I didn't cut anything yet. So here we have the rest of our sweater. What we're going to do is we're going to work, we have our neck here, we've got our other shoulder here, and we've got our neck here. So the way that we're going to lay this out is, when we make the turtleneck, okay, we are going to first round one. So for round one, we're going to pull up and knit our stitches. We'll continue here, pulling up, knitting these, pulling up, knitting this, all the way to the shoulder. We are not going to sew this shoulder yet. We're going to do this after we complete our neck. We're going to continue on the back. Okay, so once we pull up our stitches from the front, we're going to continue and pull up our stitches from the back, all the way to the back here, work all the way around till we get to the front again. Okay, so that's round one. All right, so let's begin with this. Here's our yarn attached to the ball. We are going to take a size 4mm needle, okay, 4mm knitting needle, all right? So the one we were previously using was 5, we're going to downgrade it back to a 4, okay? What I'm going to do is I have my size 4mm needles, but all I'm going to do is take my yarn first, that's attached to the string, that's attached to the ball of yarn, and I'm going to pull it through first. So we're just going to pick up a stitch all the way around, okay? So 23. So we're going to look at our seam here that we made, and we're going to divide it into two. We're going to take here is the back, here is the front. Okay, so we want it as close to the center as possible for our first stitch. So insert, I'm just going to take a crochet hook because it's easier, but you can use the knitting needle if you manage. So I took it in, okay, as close to the center as possible. I'm going to take my yarn and just pull it through, okay. Then I'm going to take my knitting needle, size 4, pull it through, we've picked up one, okay. Now I'm going to go to the next stitch, and I know it can be kind of difficult to see the stitches, but each stitch, like before, has a V, right? So we want to try and make sure that we get all of those for a total of 23 stitches before we hit the center over here, okay? So try your best evening your stitches out all the way to the end, okay? So let's do the second stitch. So insert your needle into the second stitch, wrap the yarn around, and just pull it over. So similar to crochet. Okay, into the third one, pull it over, like that. Okay? See? So I'm going to work my stitches, keep pulling them through, all the way till I get to the front here. Okay, I will meet you over here when we have to work on this part here. Okay, so I will pull them through 23. Okay, and it doesn't matter which size you are. You could be a small, medium, large, extra large, or extra, extra large. You're all going to have 23 stitches over here. Okay, so here I am. I've done picking up my 23 stitches. Okay, and I'm at the front here like this. Okay, so this stitch in particular here was kind of wide. Okay, it was big, it was loose. So instead of picking up the 23rd stitch in there, I picked it up in one of these under loops right beside it. Okay, just so that I didn't pull this any further and create a giant hole, right? So the idea is that we're going to pick up this one here that's kind of beside it, and then we're going to begin now picking up these. So it's the same thing. We're going to insert our needle into the first stitch, right? From our, that's on our stitch holder, we're going to take our yarn like this and pull it through. Okay, we're going to take the next one that's on here. We're going to take the next one, okay, and pull through and knit. Okay, take the next one, pull it through like that and pick up a loop. Okay, so we're going to do that for all of these all the way to the end here. Then we're going to continue with 23 stitches from here all the way up to the seam. Okay, and again, we are not, once we hit the seam here, 23, once we hit the seam here, we are not going to sew it together. We're going to just continue picking up stitches on here, on these ones in the back, until we get back to the front over here. Okay, so I'm going to continue picking up my stitches all the way around here until I meet you at the beginning again, and I will meet you here. So once you're done picking up all your stitches, I'll meet you back. Your piece will look like this, and we will begin the next row. So for the next row, we're going to begin our piece, okay, by turning it around like this and knitting. All right, our stitch holders, once you've finished with them, you can take them off. You don't need them anymore. So we're going to begin by knitting, and this is what the pattern's going to be. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to begin row 1. Okay, so for row 1, we're going to knit 7 if you're a small, 9 if you're a medium, 4 if you're a large, 6 if you're an extra large, and 8 if you're an extra large. Okay, then once you've completed that, you're going to increase in the next stitch. So for me, if I knit 7, then therefore my 8th stitch, I will increase in that stitch. Okay, just to give you an example. After that, I will knit 5, okay, if I'm a small, 5 if I'm a medium, 6 if I'm a large, 6 if I'm an extra large, and 6 if I'm an extra large. Okay, then similar to up here, I'm going to increase in the next stitch. All right, so I'm going to do this a total of 15 times. Okay, just this one. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. Once I'm done this, I'm going to work on this. Right, once I do this once, that's the first of 15. Therefore, I have to do a total of 14 more to get a total of 15. Okay, so 15 of these total. Then I'm going to knit 8 if I'm a small, knit 10 if I'm a medium, 4 if I'm a large, 6 if I'm an extra large, and 8 if I'm an extra large. Okay, and that should complete row 1. At the end of row 1, I should have a total of 122 stitches. If I'm a small, 126 stitches. If I'm a medium, 130 stitches. If I'm a large, 134 if I'm an extra large, and 138 stitches if I'm an extra large. Okay, then after that, row 1 is done. So following that, I finished row 1. Now for row 2 and above, we're just going to do a 2 by 2 rib. Okay, so just how we did the cuffs, right? We're going to do the same thing for our neck. Okay, and we're going to work that 2 by 2 rib back and forth all the way until the entire neckline measures a total of 28 centimeters. And that's 28 centimeters regardless of the size of your sweater. So you could be doing a small, medium, large, extra large, or extra large. The total will still be 28 centimeters for the total size of your neck. Okay? So again, this is a turtleneck. Once you're done this, you're finished. You're going to cast off loosely in the rib. Okay? Right? So loosely. So just how we did the cuff, we want it to be stretchy, so you don't want to pull the string when you cast off. You don't want to make it tight. You want to make sure that it's loose when you cast off so that the rib is stretchy and your head can go through the neckline. Okay? So remember, just remember that. You want it loosely so that you can put your head through the neck. Okay? Once you're finished casting off, I will meet you there where we will begin to put everything together. Okay? So here I am. I finished my neck of the sweater. To determine the length of the neck of your sweater, you're going to take the measurement of the person's neck that's going to be wearing this, and you're going to times that by 2 and add 2 rows. So, for example, my neck, when I measured it, was 12 centimeters. And then, so I'm going to times that by 2. So I'm going to make the length of the neck 24 centimeters. And then I'm going to add 2 rows to it. And what that does is that when we fold it over, because the turtleneck, when we fold it over and we wear it like this, that two extra rows will give us a little bit more leeway when we wear this piece, right? Okay, so regardless of the person wearing it, measure their neck, times that measurement by 2, and add 2 rows, and that'll give you the total length of the turtleneck that you need to create. Okay, and once you're finished, your piece will look like this. Okay, so I have both my pieces together, right? My back, my front, my neck. Everything is open. I didn't sew anything together yet. We're going to actually do this right now on this next stop.